from the News Channel 5 network. This is Open Line.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Line. Glad you are with us tonight. It is Monday, August 23rd. We're back live. We were off all of last week, so tonight a live show talking about an issue that is certainly being talked about a lot. We're talking about mask mandates in schools. And we'll be talking with two moms tonight from an organization called Moms for Liberty. And I'll let them tell you what that is and their stance on masks for schools. But there they are. They're joining us via Zoom, as our guests do now, and I appreciate you both for being here. We have Cindy Goddard. She is a Davidson County school parent. Cindy, hello. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
Robin Steenman, Williamson County school parent. Both of you are with Moms for Liberty. It looks like you're both wearing T-shirts that say Moms for Liberty there. What is Moms for Liberty first? Either of you can answer that. What is Moms for Liberty?
Moms for Liberty is a national organization with chapters in multiple states. It's at the county level resides the chapter. And it's really about informing and empowering parents. And the tagline is parental rights do not stop at the classroom door. And parental rights have become a true hot button issue in this pandemic era. And that's what Moms for Liberty advocates for.
Now, I said we're going to talk about mask mandates in schools. You're both from the same organization. What is Moms for Liberty? What is their stance on mask mandates?
Moms for Liberty's stance is to give parents the option, the choice as a parent to decide whether or not to mask their children.
So you would oppose a mask mandate, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, let's talk about that, because certainly that's the big issue here. Why? And I'll start with you, Robin. Why are you opposed to a mask mandate in schools?
Well, it comes down to the fundamental premise of Moms for Liberty. It's parental rights. It's the parent, the family being able to do, a weighing of the risk and the benefit of whether or not to mask their child, and to making that informed decision that's best for their child and their family. So a mask mandate flies in the face of a parent being able to do that. So just as a parent can do that cost-benefit analysis for their child and decide that the mask is the right decision for them, at the same time, the parent that arrives at a different answer should have equal rights.
Now, the concern is that an unmasked child, when people under 12 years old cannot be vaccinated, an unmasked child puts others at risk. So you have a right, you say, to have your child not be masked, but by doing that, your child could be asymptomatic and it could put other children at risk. So what about the right of people to go and be in school and not have their child be exposed and put at risk? And Robin, you can take, or no, why don't you take that, Cindy?
Okay. My belief is there is scientific research that the masks are not working for the children. 90% of people don't wear the mask correctly anyway. When a child has a mask on their face, they're 23 times more likely to be touching their face, which all the germs from their hands go into their face. They're going to be more apt to contract the virus that way.
Now, Cindy, so you're saying there's scientific evidence that the masks don't work, and that's why you're opposed to it?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, all right, so we have the American Academy of Pediatrics. They, doctors say, again, because children 12 and under can't get vaccinated, it makes sense that a well-fitting mask be worn by students. They strongly advocate that. They strongly advocate schools be open, but they say for that to be done safely, they should wear masks, and they're doctors. And they believe in the science of masks. Certainly the Center for Disease Control, CDC, advocates for that. So there are these organizations that are saying the science is that it makes children safer. Robin, what do you say to that?
I have yet to see them point to any kind of definitive study that actually backs that up. And the problematic thing with this country, and the year and a half behind us is that science has been, for lack of a better word, corrupted a bit because it's been politicized. And we've heard, the CDC give guidance one way, and then the CDC will back up and give the guidance in another way. Or, the same, we're all familiar with Dr. Fauci saying one thing about a mask and then reversing course and then saying the exact opposite. So, that's the fact is you have to look at what their background is, sadly, politics does play a role in it. And it comes down to the parents to look at the data available and draw our own conclusions, because just listening to the, standard verbiage from the CDC, when there's been so much change, when there's been so much contradiction, when there's been so much politicization, they've lost our trust. They've lost the public trust. That's the bottom line.
So the CDC has lost your trust. American Academy of Pediatrics, so pediatric doctors, have they lost your trust?
No, but you can find doctors on the other side of the spectrum that point to how masks are ineffective anyway. Again, I don't see a single study that proves to me the efficacy of a mask. And then second, the numbers for children just don't support masking, because the risk to children thank goodness that the risk to children is so small, because that would be truly terrifying if this were, a disease like polio, which really targets children. COVID does not pose a risk like that. I believe the number is 0.0001% is a greater risk of being struck by lightning than for a child to die of COVID.
Mm-hmm. And so it sounds
I just read today.
Well, go ahead. Do you want to add to that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just read today the former CDC director himself said children need to be in school, but they do not need to wear masks, because he has yet, like Robin said, to see evidence and data, and it needs to be data driven, not CDC opinion driven.
So you don't trust the CDC, okay? You don't trust the American Academy of Pediatrics. So you're looking for a study. Do you have studies that you do trust, I guess? Do you have studies in hand from the other side, or is this such a new thing that there really aren't studies on either side that can conclusively point to anything?
I just found one before the show came on, comparing Florida, the schools that masked and the schools that did not mask, and there was no difference in cases in those two. So there's one study that points to if masking is not helping or the children.
So why are we to this?
And lots of things.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say lots of things point to a mask are inefficient, such as even on the box of the mask that most people wear, the toss and throw away ones, it said does not protect you from COVID-19. It kind of gives a false security, which is what the Surgeon General in 2020 said. It gives a false security to people. They think they're protected. And less than a year ago, the World Health Organization and the CDC both recommended no public mask wearing. So they're just changing their minds all the time.
They have changed their minds, but it's an evolving situation. So now they're saying that it would be beneficial to wear masks while there is no vaccine. And the concern is, again, that kids who cannot be vaccinated would be more likely to get it. In fact, we're seeing now in Lebanon, in the school district down there, they're having to close all next week. And when they come back, they will have a mask mandate because they don't have the staff. So many people are out and sick. I guess my next question, I guess you touched on it a little bit, Robin. I mean, do you think COVID is a serious virus? I mean, do you even believe that COVID is a serious situation, or you don't think it's a serious situation?
I believe it should be respected for what it is. It is a threat. If you have risk factors, then you need to respect the virus and you need to take precaution. I do think that it is something that this country is going to have to live with from here on out. And people do have to live their lives and mitigate their own risk. But to mask an entire population is not a sustainable thing.
If they said, well, just mask until there's a vaccine that is approved for children 12 and under, what do you say to that?
Again, that's parental choice. Do they want to vaccinate their child? But for the parents that are masking their children and do have done the cost benefit of whether or not they want to make that decision for their child, then the vaccine might really appeal to them, and that might solve the problem or solve their concerns. But I don't believe in mandating vaccines for children, especially with the risk factors to children as low as they are.
Do you believe in
that would be a drastic measure.
Do you believe the vaccine works? Do you believe in the vaccine?
I've heard a lot of data floating around about that its efficiency is in question, that vaccinated people are contracting the virus. And then I hear on another channel that the vaccine is absolutely effective and that you should get it. And therein sows the doubt within the American public of, well, what's the truth? And it leads the parents to question and to look for their own data and make their own decisions, because it's hard to know what the truth data is. You have to find it yourself.
Well, I mean, if you go looking for it yourself and you go on Facebook, you're going to find all kinds of crazy stuff. But if you go to like the American Academy of Pediatrics, or you go to the CDC, or you go to, I guess it depends on what you are willing to trust. You can find anything you want on the internet, but it's what level are you willing to trust? What do you think, Cindy, about, I guess, do you trust the vaccine or not? Should parents trust the vaccine? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not going to speak for other parents if they trust it, and I have a lot of people that do trust it. I'm a little leery of it. 3 senators just came out fully vaccinated. They got COVID. You know about the cruise ship. Well, everybody on there was vaccinated, came down with COVID. So it's definitely not where it's going to prevent totally people from getting the disease. And if you have natural immunity, if you've had COVID, survived it, have natural immunity like I do, if I get the vaccine, it's going to lower my chances of, it's going to raise my chances of getting a worse case of COVID.
So you believe if you get the vaccine, you have a chance of getting a worse case of COVID? Now,
Since I've had COVID, they say with my natural immunity that I have built in, if I get the vaccine, it's going to take that away. And if I get COVID, it's going to be worse on me because my natural immunity would have been better than the shot.
And just so I can, point out it, just to give the other side, when you talk about the vaccine not being effective, it is true that we are now seeing people who have gotten the vaccine get COVID, but what we are hearing is that it's a much less severe case. So you get the vaccine so that when you are exposed to this more contagious Delta variant, that you don't, in fact, get as sick, that it saves lives. That's what, the CDC and doctors are saying. It's probably not what everybody is saying on Facebook, but that's what scientists are saying. I guess my concern when I hear where we are in this country is that we can't even agree on basic science, and that's pretty depressing. So how do you think we got there? What has brought each of you to the place where you are, and how have we gotten to the point we don't even agree on what basic science? And I guess Robin, I'll start with you.
I think we can agree on science, but science that hasn't been politicized. And that's one problem with the current climate in our country is absolutely everything is politicized and it's tearing us apart. So something as what should be uncontroversial as science has now become controversial, or has become debatable because it depends on what scientists you're talking to, or who funded the study, or that's the sad truth. I wish the country would swing in the other direction and that we could just follow the numbers without an agenda. Just report the numbers, just report the data, and let that speak for itself.
Now, again, I mean, American Academy of Pediatrics, it's not a politicized organization as far as I know. CDC, I guess you don't have faith in that, but that's generally been an organization people turn to. What do you think has gotten us to this point where we don't even believe the same science, Cindy?
I think it's because of all the changes that have come. I know this is new to us, and we're kind of learning as we're going. But of course, when Fauci tells you to not wear a mask, then to wear a mask, then to wear 2 masks, then to wear 3 masks, it's gone back and forth. And then there are studies out there that are being taken down if they go against what the political people want us to believe. There was a study in July of 2021 that was posted about the CO2 levels wearing a mask and how those rise in children. And now that study was quickly taken down because it didn't fit the political agenda that they wanted to have. So if we had faith that all the studies we're seeing are the truth, we wouldn't have any problem with it. But what we're seeing is not all truth out there.
Now you're talking about, when you say CO2 levels, are you saying that you think masks are dangerous for kids to wear? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, well now doctors, they wear okay, all right, so you believe doctors wear masks for hours on end when they are doing surgery. And they've done that for many years. So do you think doctors are putting themselves in danger when they wear masks for a prolonged surgery?
Well, adults are different from children. I do know that. I know the children aren't wearing them separately. Doctors aren't running around in a hot gymnasium with their mask on for an hour every day and not being able to breathe either. So there is a difference in the wearing of the mask by an adult and a child. And a child has 99.997% chance of recovering from COVID.
And again, okay, so you found a study, and I know it's out there on the internet, that says masks aren't safe, CO2 levels. But again, you have the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is pediatric doctors saying wear a mask. So it seems astounding to me that they would say wear a mask if it would be harmful, if CO2 levels could somehow harm kids. It seems like they would be on top of that. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, but you are saying that the American Academy of Pediatrics, which recommends wearing a mask to keep kids from spreading COVID in school when there's not a vaccine for kids 12 and under, you're saying they're recommending something that's dangerous? I mean, you believe they would do that? What is their motivation for doing that? Is it ignorance, or is there something else in your opinion? And Robin, you can take that.
A recommendation is not numbers. It's a recommendation. Show me the numbers. Show me an unbiased study. You know, show me a box of masks that says this protects against COVID-19. I don't believe that a cloth mask that a kid is rubbing on their face and dropping on the floor and then putting back on their face to breathe in the rest of the day is going to save them from COVID-19. I don't believe that that's good for a child. And it's, you know, it's trust but verify, you know.
But how are you as a parent? Well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
One concern I have that I've never seen is, as a teacher, I used to have children that were from smoking families. So the child is wearing a mask from a smoke home, which smells like smoke, and they're having it right next to the nose and breathing that in all day long. And we know that is harmful to a child. Secondhand smoke is so harmful, but yet I know that's happening with the children. And then you say trust the CDC or the pediatric. The study that I read was from the former CDC director. And then another one was from the Surgeon General, Dr. Adams. And they both were saying about no mask for kids. It's just not necessary. So like we were saying, show the data, the evidence is out there somewhere. It's just being hidden.
I mean, what if this is so new, it's not being hidden? It's evolving. It's ever evolving. And when you say, show me the numbers, that's kind of hard. But the best, doctors, and I guess you have to trust the American Academy of Pediatrics. If you don't, I guess that's all thrown out the window. You have to trust the CDC, and I know things have changed, but if you don't, then it's thrown out the window. You have to then, so you would trust the old CDC director, but you won't trust the current CDC. And you would trust the old CDC director, but you don't trust the current American Academy of Pediatrics. Again, doctors their job is to protect kids. And they're saying that when there's not a vaccine, it's helpful. It helps prevent the spread for people to wear a mask. That's what they're saying. But then you're saying it's dangerous and you just don't believe them. Right? I mean, that's I guess where we are.
Well, you keep coming back to trust. You've used that word possibly more than any of the other words. And trust is, I mean, let's just look at the word trust. That's a big word in our society, and trust is earned. But once it's lost, it is so hard to get back. Once you've earned the trust that you have in somebody or something, it's like, you take a piece of paper and you wad it up and then you can flatten it back out. It's still going to be wrinkled. So the CDC and even, the American Academy of Pediatrics, I don't follow as closely, but I am aware of the AMA that is recommending removing male-female from birth certificates. That's lost some of my trust because that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's not incumbent upon us to just blindly give our trust, especially after they've done something to shake that trust. It is incumbent upon these government organizations to earn the trust of the American public. And it is a situation in which they lost it. And is it too late to turn it around? No. But show us the numbers, make a good faith effort, be apolitical and unbiased, without agenda, and just do what's best for the kids. That's what the parents want. When the AMA makes such a recommendation, or we're dealing with school boards, and school boards across the country are dismissing parental concerns, and parental concerns are for nothing but the welfare of their children. So ergo, the school boards are dismissing concerns over the welfare of kids. We are getting accustomed to not being listened to. Our trust has been lost by so many institutions. So it's not the problem. I don't see the problem is with us and our loss of trust. The problem, or is it incumbent upon the government and these organizations to reestablish it? And I think the American people are open to that. But, when you have Dr. Fauci flip-flopping repeatedly, and the CDC flip-flopping repeatedly, and the goalposts moving, then the trust is shaken. And like I said, trust is a funny thing. Once it's lost, it's an uphill battle to get it back. And that is why you see so much skepticism, and censorship on Facebook and the internet does not foster trust. The fact that,
the internet should not foster trust. I agree with you on that. Absolutely not. It does come down to who do you trust, and there are a bunch of doctors who are saying this is the right thing to do. There are a bunch of doctors who wear masks for hours each day, and it's not harming them, the CO2 levels. They say this is our best advice. This is what we should do as we are in a pandemic that's unprecedented. I don't think they're saying do it forever. And so I think there would be some parents out there who would say, what's the harm? What if wearing a mask is imperfect, which it probably is, but what if it keeps the spread from 1 or 2 kids from getting it? What's the harm with wearing a mask until there is a vaccine that's available for kids that parents can again decide if they want to take? But what is the harm? And I think I know your answer, but I guess Cindy, you can take that. What's the harm with just, yeah, it's imperfect. Yeah, kids mess around with their face, it's imperfect, but why not? We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're seeing, again, Lebanon is having to shut down. We're seeing it spread in Davidson County. We're seeing it spread in these counties. Why not just wear a mask until there's a vaccine, and maybe it keeps it from spreading as quickly as if we didn't have a mask? Go ahead. What's the harm?
I would say show me the data that masks work. Like I said, the data that I saw just today from Florida schools with mask and with no mask, there was no difference in contracting the virus. So why put children through that and the harm that they can do for children if it's unnecessary and if they're wearing them incorrectly anyway? You've seen people with a mask on and they have it under their nose. They take it down to talk or sneeze. They put it back up. Their hands are all over their face. It's just something that we're not doing correctly. And so the benefits just don't seem to be there.
But it could cut down the spread, couldn't it? Or you don't think so? Okay, I get it. All right, you don't think so. Cindy, all right, so Robin, you're in Williamson County. Is there a religious aspect of this for you? Is there, I know there's a lot of religious exemption. Is that part of this?
The religious exemption is not something that I've taken on. I mean, my child actually, if you'd like to know about a control group, I had my child enrolled in kindergarten in Williamson County for the 2020-2021 school year. And when I found out about the mask mandate, I felt that was draconian. I was following the science and the data, and I said that the cost just outweighs the benefit. So I withdrew her from Williamson County schools. I put her in a private school, and that private school did no social distancing and no masking for children. And there was 0 incidents for the entire school year.
Wow, 0 incidents. Okay. Well, there are other schools that have a different story. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, and what about for you, Cindy? Is there a religious aspect of this for you?
No, not a religious aspect for me, just the fact of giving parents a choice. If you think the mask is protecting you from the virus, then wear a mask. If you don't feel that way, then why should you care if somebody else doesn't wear a mask? If your mask is protecting you, then you don't need to worry if I'm wearing a mask or not.
And then I'm going to have to go to break. But again, what they say is that the mask keeps asymptomatic people from spreading it. So it's not just that it's protecting someone, it's keeping the spread down. So it's also the child who wears the mask, not just, it doesn't keep them from getting it, it does, but it also keeps them from spreading it. So that's what the parent would say. And you say what to that? You say, show me the data.
Right, Ben. I mean, can you point to the data?
Okay. All right, we have gone for...
It's written on the side of the box, is it not?
You say that again? It's written on the side of the box that the masks don't work?
It's not written on the side of the box.
It's not written on the side of the box. Say that again. Tell me what you're talking about.
There's a disclaimer on the side of some boxes of masks that says does not prevent, transmission of viruses.
Well, should you get a mask that maybe doesn't have that disclaimer? Should you get a cloth mask that I guess doesn't have that disclaimer?
I don't see how a cloth mask would be more effective than a paper one. It comes down to the microns of the virus.
And they're so small, they're going to get through the mask anyway.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of set the table here. We have several calls. If you want to call in, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We are talking about masks. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.